What do you mean, my child? Not much, unfortunately. I was sent to serve in the Horns of the South shortly after my ordination. I only know that many brothers dream of joining the research team working in the ruins. But I am surprised you know about them. The brothers wouldn't allow, well, a nobody to enter. Touchy. You know that's not what I meant. Know your worth, and the Prophet will bless every step you take on the path you've chosen. Indeed, my child. I have served in the Horns of the South since I turned 20. So, it's now my 40th year in the service of Kai and this noble abode. As for the asylum, I only know as much as my brothers deem necessary to relay to me in their letters. I only receive reports on their progress towards curing the Red Death. I'm afraid that I simply cannot believe your blasphemous words without proof. So it's your word against the word. Let's leave it at that. It's a sickness, a corruption, but also a mystery. Many of my brothers would call it a curse, a stain upon Avalon that must be purged. And yet, I wonder, did Kai not teach us that all things have a purpose? That even suffering carries wisdom? The weirdness twists and warps, yes. It consumes and it takes. But it also gives. Life grows in its wake. Strange and terrible, but life all the same. If we are to fight it, we must first understand it. And that is what frightens the Church most of all. Understanding. As prepared as any men can be against something they barely understand. Swords and fire will hold back beasts, but what of the creeping rot that twists flesh and mind alike? But there is one thing. The Excalibur they keep here. It has not been wielded in an age, yet the weird does not creep near it. Well, even as it rests upon its pedestal, the air around it remains untouched. The tendrils of corruption that strangle stone and steel refuse to claim it. The keepers may not see it for what it is, but I do. There is power in that blade. Something ancient, something beyond the Church's teachings. And if it truly holds back the weirdness, then perhaps it was never meant for men alone. Safe? No. But safer than most, I suppose. But tell me, what is safety, truly? A stronghold? A weapon? A prayer? I've seen men with all three fall just the same. So no, I do not feel safe. But I do feel watched. And sometimes that is enough. Certainly. Kai's blessings know no bounds, but sometimes it's useful to seal them in a handy flask. May Kai's word always guide you. In the word, you will find solace.
You? Ah, shit. Another mouth to feed. Teargas must have been off his rocker if he thinks I can feed everyone with the little he gives me. I'm serious. If we don't open the keep soon, we'll have to start eating rats. Not that I can't cook them in a way that makes you think it's chicken. It's a good thing you didn't start with calm down, or I'd have shoved my cleaver up your arse. Yeah, I'm pissed off. Because our gracious sovereigns recently decided to let in a bunch of refugees from the villages. They say they're running from the weirdness, but who knows, really? So now I have even more hungry mouths to feed. And since the captain ordered the letdown of our keep, the supplies are dwindling a lot faster than I'd like. Of course, I can make you 1,000 different dishes based on fish and grouts. But come on, even the keepers need some variety in their lives. Oh, this is new. Maybe we'll get along after all. The dimwits here never want to learn, only eat.
Oh, you're trying to piss me off, aren't you? If you don't like my food, then get lost. Go to Ron's Tavern and stop wasting my time. What do you think they serve on the coast? The same damn thing as here. Bloody fish! Just don't come crying to me when you start missing my fried cod. In the fishing village. That's where the guards retire to sit on their asses and fart. Or sit, fart, and drink themselves into a stupor. Hell no. I'd rather stay useful here and drop dead at my stove than waste space over there. If someone's still fit to work but chooses to laze around all day instead, they should be kicked out, not rewarded with free beer.
Well, an adventurer, are you? Ah, I'm good for now. But if you find something interesting, you can drop it off here. And, as a sign of goodwill, I'll allow you free reign of my kitchen. If you need to cook something, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Do I know you? I'm terrible with faces. Either way, glad to make your acquaintance. I'm Jan Heber, a physician raised in Camelot and trained in the Royal Academy. Is some local witchcraft I've been trying to make sense of. I guess I'll find out when I try it. Experience is the best teacher. Don't worry, I'm not testing anything on the others. Graham the Mad, a great Camelotian physician, used to say that a real doctor would never give his patient something he hadn't tried on himself first. A wise approach, which I follow myself. What irony? Oh, that was unexpected. Here, take it. What will happen, I have no idea, but please tell me, if you live to find out. The pursuit of knowledge is always dangerous. That's why it's reserved for only the bravest of the brave. It takes true guts to face the unknown, to realize just how little you know and how insignificant you are to the world. I was classically trained in the proper art of medicine by the scholars of Camelot. The things they do here, they make no sense at all. Most of this stuff shouldn't even be effective, yet it seems to work wonders on these simple-minded, tough-bodied people here in the south. Shipments from Camelot are late, so I'm running low on supplies. If I'm not able to treat them, they'll start complaining. And Fergus doesn't like when people complain, especially when it comes to their health. He truly cares about them, I've got to admit. He doesn't care much about anyone else, though. Healing diseases, sometimes cutting people open. Oh, and pulling out teeth seems to be a leading cause of concern for everyone around here. Me pulling teeth in the arse end of the world? My friends back in Camelot would laugh their brains out. I don't dream about anything anymore, so sleep feels like a waste of precious time. Fortunately, back in Camelot, I found a mix of remedies that can keep me awake for a whole week. It was quite popular in our study group. Oh no, every physician needs his secrets. But I can sell you some if you promise not to tell any of the higher-ups. There are side effects. You won't fall asleep for a while, but the moment you do, well, you'll feel like you died and came back to life, only to die again. So you either take the next dose or endure it. I can endure it because I don't have a post to attend to. But our brave soldiers, well, that'd be risky. Well, they already trust my word, and I'll be sure to deny everything. Moreover, I'm in the position to raise my prices or to refuse to sell you medicine, whichever suits my mood. I'm honestly quite offended you're even asking. Why would you, though? Don't you have better things to do? Aha, got it. So you're up for work not out of the goodness of your heart, but for your own selfish plans. Good point. That is a very good point. But all right, if you're a mercenary, then I do have a job for someone who'd be willing to risk their life in exchange for material goods. Back at the academy, I found an ancient scroll written by the Druids. Forbidden knowledge, especially now after the mob forced them all into a wicker man and burned every last one of them to ash. I finally deciphered it a little while ago. It describes a ritual that needs to be performed at night within a stone circle. And guess what? There's one in the nearby forest. I guess you already know what I need you to do, hmm? And here I am, thinking that everyone's already heard about the Charred Conclave. Well, it wasn't the proudest moment in our history, that's for sure. You truly don't know. At some point, the villagers all around the island decided that the Druids were responsible for the Red Death, and all other ailments of our times. They rounded them all up in a massive wicker man north of the Forlorn Swords, and burn them all to ashes. Hundreds of years of knowledge gone within the blink of an eye. But, well, that's what's bound to happen when you stop paying for people's education and invest in keeping the elites fed instead. That is an excellent question, but I don't know. From what I've been able to decipher, it's a summoning spell to bring something or someone to our world. That being will share its great knowledge with the one brave enough to summon it. I need you to remember what it says and repeat it to me after you're back, word for word. Isn't it obvious? I'm the only medic they have here at the Horns. I'd like to see Fergus's face if he hears about me going out there. In Camelot, maybe, but this far south? Nobody cares. I've spent my entire life digging through scrolls and books in pursuit of their knowledge. I've been reading about their rites and the descriptions of their rituals. Look, I'm sure they were onto something. They knew much more than we do, but it feels like there's a veil wrapped tightly around that knowledge. It's like I need to find the right spell, the right ritual, something that will unwrap it for me.
Hey, tell me, can you read? Listen, I'm no good with words. Could you read me a letter from my sister? She's learning how to read and write. Can you believe it? She writes letters to me. I'm so proud of her. They always make fun of me for not knowing how to read. And Enid is still learning. I don't want them to make stupid jokes about her if it's bad. I know our village is in the arse end of nowhere, but it's not our fault no one ever gave a shit about it. At least now things are changing. Maybe my sister will have a better future, eh? Ah, thanks. Here's the letter. And what did it say? Everyone's healthy? No, you must have misunderstood something. What do I do now? I don't know. I don't know what to do. I should go back to him, right? I guess. I guess that's true. Yes. Excuse me. I need to be alone.
What do you think of scale armour? Scale armour. What do you think of it? The ones all the keepers wear. Sure, maybe it's easy to make and doesn't restrict movement, but it doesn't provide the best protection. Someone just needs to stab you between the scales and you're done for. The melee armour is much better. That will prevent you from being run through with a polearm or getting shot with a bow. It's also much more comfortable. I told them, but they both said I know jack shit. Besides, the keepers rarely go outside the walls nowadays. Then the quartermaster added that if I don't like our equipment, he could send me out scouting in just my underwear. Perhaps you're right. But if somebody ever stabs me under the scales, I'll go straight to the quartermaster and give him an earful. Oh, of course. I mean, I've never made one. I'm not an armourer. But I've read so much about it that I'm sure it won't be a problem. Here's the page from the Armourer's Almanac that explains the process. I read a lot about it. In Volume 4 of the Armourer's Almanac, Arden Shadowblade describes the differences between various types of armour. For example, chainmail allows for a good range of movement, but it's heavy. It also provides poor protection against blunt weapons, and its production is laborious. No, but I have knowledge from books and a lot of thoughts on the subject, so I know what it would be like to wear different armour. Shadowblade is a moniker. Arden is passionate about weapons and armour. He has great knowledge of materials, techniques and history. A true expert. Everything he writes is interesting. I would love to meet him one day.
Are you here to keep me company or put me out of my misery? Just kidding. I love the view, but this weather is killing me. You don't say. I didn't choose to be here.
Our beloved quartermaster sent me to freeze my arse off. He said as punishment for spitting on the good name of the keepers, whatever the hell that means.
I just got drunk in the tavern and lost half my pay, and maybe some of my clothes. But I mean, why would he even care? It was my gold. I can spend it how I please.
Oh, aye, I need a warm coat, and I mean the absolute warmest coat you can get, huh?
Osprey might have something in stock or know how to make one. I'd ask myself, but he's not exactly speaking with me these days. Stupid. That's what I was. I may or may not have commented on our blacksmith's skill. I gave him a blade to sharpen, and when I got it back, it was still dull. Osprey swore he did his job properly. I said he's getting old. And so on and so forth, until it turned out that my mate had played a trick on me, swapped my sword with another one that was as dull as a stump. I tried to make amends with Osprey, but the old man's pride is as stiff as his steel. Can't say I blame him. Now, here I am, frozen to the bone and in need of a hand. You got one to spare? Oh, come on, can't you see I'm freezing? Who in their right mind orders someone with bad joints to patrol the walls in this kind of weather, eh? Thanks. I'll be right here, freezing my arse off.
It's nice to have a break. Always good to have a little rest.
Oi, friend. A question. Do you know why people always stop and watch a blacksmith at work? Because he's riveting. It's good to see a new face in this sad hole.
Oh, of course. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Osbert, local master of hammers and anvils. Do you need your blade sharpened?
Oh, not really. Especially since we went into a lockdown a while ago. People used to come and go. Now and then a ship would make a stop at the village below, but nobody's really come around since. Well, since the entire shit show that's going down everywhere. Now that I think of it, you're the first they've let in. What'd you do? Who did you bribe? Oh, so you have friends in Camelot. Good for you. Of course I do. Those pins are peak craftsmanship, and very rare at that. We only gave them out on Camelot's orders. But when I look at you, well, it's pretty obvious you wouldn't be able to beat a knight. And even if you found one already dead, you'd sooner nick his armor than a pin you knew nothing about. Either way, good for you. Sometimes I wonder, how many things can go wrong at the same time. They say that misery loves company, but here, it's like we've done something to anger the gods, and they're taking their sweet revenge. First, we started hearing that the weirdness was spreading near Grubwood. Soon after that, we saw waves of bandits approaching from there. Desperate people. They took a lot of our territory. Then, the Del Rita tribes took over the All-Mother's Temple. And after that, the supply chains from Camelot collapsed for some reason. and so on and so forth. We're in quite a pickle, my friend. We've started betting on what's going to happen next. Sea monsters? Who knows? Yes, that damn forest north of here was already cursed and creepy. But now, I've heard it's an entirely different level of crazy. They say that some men here started going dark up north. With that, the weirdness started moving. And when the weirdness gets here, well, we're fucked. But you know that. Every child has heard the stories. Truth be told, most of them are just people desperate to survive. When the villages started dying out because of the weirdness, hunger, or raids, they lost their livelihoods, ended up with nothing to their names, and nowhere to go. So they banded together and started raiding whatever was left. Then they turned to killing each other. They're like rabid wolves. Too bad they're here now, too. That's... I don't know. It's hard to explain. They kept to themselves, perched in the mountains near the Forlorn Swords. Then something happened, and suddenly we saw ships arriving near our eastern shores. A couple days later, the tribes took over. One good thing is that the bandits aren't up to fighting with them. One bad thing, we aren't either. Yeah, after we lost 2 squads trying to take back the All-Mother's Temple from the Dalrita, our captain decided that nobody leaves the Horns. Then he shut himself in his office, without leaving us any orders. Feargus is trying to keep the lads occupied, but... just look around. Half of the people here are losing their minds, and the rest are losing their wages on drink. I heard that Dew fell down the stairs and didn't break a single bone. So that's a start. Other than that, no, I can't think of anything. Huh, it's Radan, isn't it? That ungrateful bastard's still on the wall. You don't have to do that, kid. I know it's for him, it's fine. And I forgave him a long time ago. And now that I think about it, it was a hell of a prank. Well, he was right. I am old, but inefficient, stung a little bit. After all, I did my job well, and his sword is as sharp as Excalibur itself. Well, I may not be angry with him anymore, but that doesn't mean I'll work my ass off so that his doesn't freeze. Here's an explanation of how to make it. Feel free to help him out yourself. Ha! Friend, I wish. But the only task I could use help with might be a bit too delicate for you to handle. Unless you're a master goldsmith, then feel free to prove it, and I'll have work for you immediately. There's just not enough of them to go around. And now that we're on lockdown, there's not much demand for my services either. Listen, I said I don't have any jobs, as in things I'd pay you for doing. That doesn't mean I can't teach you a thing or two, if you're willing to learn, that is. Since you're free to wander about while I'm stuck in the keep, maybe we can make good use of that. You've probably bashed in the skull of a beast or two, right? The alchemists. They're likely snatching up the corpses, using the muck to cook their weird concoctions. But perhaps you'd rather craft yourself some armor from those hides, huh? We should start with something simple. Let's see. I'll give you some notes on how to make armor. You gather the materials and get to work. And when you're done, you can bring it over so I can see what you've made.
A new face. It's always nice to see someone new here. Welcome. Why didn't I notice you earlier? Yes, my apologies. Ever since breakfast today, I've been sort of lost in thought. I keep thinking of my dear mother's cooking, especially her famous pie. You see, all we got here is venison and fish. Venison, then fish. And then fish, and more fish. I can live with all the bullshit that's thrown at us soldiers. But the longer I live, the more I realize there's not much to live for, except food. And I'd kill for a slice of that pie. As if it were that easy. I ain't much of a cook. And Rorik, the one we have here, well, he says we're soldiers, so we can stick our complaints up our asses. Really? Sure, I remember it well. Here you go.
Please, state your business. Go chop.
Oh, mother's tits. I've just about had it with this bunch of repressed virgins. And who might you be? You don't look like one of them. Oh, do I now? You would be too if you had to deal with those sniveling morons when they're up to something. Don't look at me like that. You don't get as far in life as I have if you can't smell bullshit from a mile away. There's something fishy going on here. But I'll get to the bottom of it. And here's a brilliant idea. You're going to help me. Straight to the point, huh? Don't worry, I'll pay you. And who knows, you might even get a discount on my wares. I just need you to go to Brandon and find out why that slime ball is pretending not to know I'm here. Tell him I'm waiting with his delivery. Although I'm pretty sure he knows this already. Right. What was I thinking? You wouldn't. You're new here, right? Shit. There's something going on, you know? They don't want anybody to know, but I can feel it. I've been doing business with the captain for years now. Then suddenly I found myself stuck here. They won't let me further in, not even to set up camp in the village. But they won't let me out either. Anyway, good luck to you. Come and visit if you need anything. Name's Orla. I'm a merchant. Or I try to be, when my business isn't being held hostage by a bunch of idiots who seem to be terrified of women. What was I thinking when I decided to leave Timberwall? Should have stayed there. You've never been to the merchant capital? Well, you didn't miss much. Yes, it's rich and extravagant, but only if you're rich and extravagant too. Other than that, it's a place like any other. The same pain and misery hiding behind gilded walls. It's not as exciting as people think. Or, well, maybe it is if you like living with a bunch of backstabbing crooks. Yeah, now I remember what I was thinking when I left that place. Not really. It's more of a requirement if you ever want to be successful in Timberwall. My family is full of them. I have no home in Timberwall. Well, we have an estate, but it hasn't felt like home for a long time. I feel like every time I go back, I recognize it less and less. The people are getting greedier and more desperate by the day. Business is slow, I'm not gonna lie. With the weirdness creeping in from the north and bandits everywhere, trade's just not as profitable as it used to be. But, I don't know. Being a merchant from Timberwall used to mean craftiness, taking risks, looking for opportunities. Now they only care about keeping their heads down and preserving their fortunes. Oh, love, plenty. And almost none of them happy. I'll never forget the first time we stumbled upon a place after a cloud of the weirdness oozed through. It was a small settlement, just a few houses. There was this odd, bitter taste in the air. The place was completely abandoned. Or so we thought, until we started finding them, one by one. A man who tried to chop off his legs after they started sprouting antlers. Another one who gouged his eyes out so he wouldn't have to look at his child melting into the floor. A woman in the farthest corner of the settlement managed to stab herself in the heart before it got to her. I almost dropped it all and ran back to Timberwall that day. I'm still not sure why I didn't. I guess giving up just isn't in my nature. You do realize you won't score any points with the Keepers by helping me, right? Those holier-than-thou soldier boys have no idea what it takes to be a merchant in this sorry world. The things we have to do sometimes aren't exactly done according to the rulebook. There's a woman from the tribes called Nest. She's my supplier. At least, I think she's still working for me. I haven't heard from her in a while, and she was supposed to bring me some really precious cargo, something the captain wanted me to arrange. You still up for an adventure, hmm? My guess, and it's only a guess, is that at some point she must have been somewhere around the bay. That beach near the Whale's Tooth. Rumor has it that Bromar No-Face and his thugs are fond of that place, which wouldn't be good news for Nest. You'll get paid, of course. Just let me know what happened. And bring back the cargo, if she still has it.
Let me guess. Camelot, no? Timberwall, also no? So you're not from the north? Ah, of course.
You must be from Connacht. I should have guessed right away. So, who's in charge there now?
Oh, I was just wondering what's going on out there. Here in the south, we have our own affairs. What happens out there in the world? Well, the news doesn't always travel all the way here.
And they should. It's in our common interest.
You know, people are talking about rising unrest in the north, and a secret coalition preparing a coup at the highest levels of power. And that whole plague thing is just a tool to reach their final goal. The Red Priests are also trying to get something out of it.
And to be honest, it's not gone too bad for them. The Druids are out of the picture already.
Well, sure. They want to establish a new order on our island. And it's not clear who's involved in the whole mess.
Maybe. Maybe our captain is even involved. Hell knows. They have their people everywhere. Damn it, you could be one of them too. Although when I look at you, I don't think so. You have such a stupid face. With all due respect, of course.
You see? It takes one to know one. And that means we're just pawns. Folks like us won't change anything. But we have to talk out loud. It suits them when everyone keeps their mouth shut. That's the case. Those sons of bitches are good at hiding. They kinda blend in and live among us. It's hard to tell if it's hideous magic or some other tricks.
Wait a minute. I'm not suggesting anything here. I'm just thinking out loud.
It doesn't make sense that the plague appeared just like that. Out of bloody nowhere? Hell no. It's a high-stakes game.
Power over us, of course. Over our bodies and souls. Over Avalon. Over the whole damn course of history. You know, I've been thinking lately. What if King Arthur is just a stupid fairy tale? What if the nobles and others involved in the whole conspiracy just made him up? And us peasants eventually just started to believe in it?
You know, one story for everyone. They drilled it into our heads, and drilled until it finally stuck. And then they built statues, wrote books, and everything else.
Yeah? Don't tell me you're one of those fools that think that the All-Mother exists. Have you ever seen her? How do you know that we're not being lied to?
Exactly. But maybe one day you'll see the truth.
Yes. Still tastes like shit. Exactly how my mother would make it. It's just what I needed. Oh, don't get me wrong. I really appreciate what you did for me. It's just that every time I doubt my service in the Horns of the South, I need a reminder of why I enlisted. My mother wasn't much of anything, to tell the truth. She always said I was good for nothing and that I should be glad she even kept me. And every day she'd bring back home a new uncle. Many of those uncles like to kick me out of my own house when they were drinking and getting busy. Then, when she'd sober up and got rid of an uncle, she'd bake me that pie as an apology. It always tasted like shit. If the other villagers hadn't been feeding me, I would have starved to death. Hence the pie. I wouldn't know. When I left my village, I decided to never look back. So I just assumed one of those uncles finally beat her to death.
Welcome to the Museum of the Horns of the South, the southernmost keep under Camelot's jurisdiction. My name is Riderick, and I will be happy to introduce you to the rich history of this fascinating place. A history that began 623 years ago with the first keeper, Sewell Firstfoot. I'd also like to bring your attention to our numerous exhibits that are, as I like to say, inanimate witnesses of the history of the Horns of the South.
Oh, truly? I never expected to hear such a naive question. What do they teach you in those rural schools? Likely nothing, which would explain why Avalon is in such a deplorable state. But you are fortunate, for I never refuse access to knowledge to those who wish to expand it. Saras, the flagship of King Arthur's fleet, was an exceptionally impressive construction of oak and ash wood. Unfortunately, it fell victim to rebels. A group of unfortunate individuals, misled by the empty promises of Merlin's apprentice Nimue, dared to seize Saras, and several smaller vessels also, in a clumsy attempt to return to the homelands. all of this in the midst of wartime turmoil on the eve of victory. Naturally, such treason could not go unpunished. King Arthur ordered Merlin to summon a terrible storm that dragged the rebels to the bottom of the sea. He did so to prevent anyone else from following in their footsteps. He wisely believed that returning to their homelands amounted to little more than a romanticized form of extended suicide. Honor and glory to King Arthur for that decision. Had more people followed the rebels' example, Avalon would not have retained enough population to maintain stability and form a functioning society. It began in the year 542. It is the crowning achievement of a group of keepers who were fascinated with Sewell Firstfoot. It took them years of tremendous effort to finally open an institution devoted to research and education, worthy of commemorating Sewell's great legacy. The first keeper of the museum was Gladwin Flanagan, who was personally appointed by Captain Berach the Black. I don't doubt it, since Sewell Firstfoot was a remarkable figure, well known to every keeper. Drawing on available sources, we can claim with almost absolute certainty that Sewell Firstfoot was the first man who ever set foot on the island of Avalon. As you can probably guess, that's where his moniker, Firstfoot, comes from. Of course not. That was just the first of his many great deeds. Sewell was an outstanding commander whose strategic mind, bravery, and charisma contributed to our capture of the South from the Four Dwellers. He was also the founder of the Horns of the South, so I can say with absolute conviction that if it were not for Sewell Firstfoot, we wouldn't even be standing here having this conversation. The museum holds a collection of 72 items of the so-called movable, tangible heritage. The collection includes big and small items that represent the world surrounding the keepers of the Horns of the South from the 1st to the 6th century of the Avalonian era. Here you will find militaria, craft tools, everyday objects, furniture, textiles, coins, religious artifacts. I'd say all exhibits are worthy of your attention, but I could point you to the ones I personally think to be the most notable, or subjectively, of course, the most interesting. Those would be the items that used to belong to Sewell Firstfoot. We have his signal horn and also his boots. Those boots were the first to touch Avalonian soil. What is also worth mentioning is the tableware used by King Arthur himself during his visit to the Horns of the South in the 15th year of the Avalonian era.
Yes, it's remarkable, isn't it? You can find them in the central display. Sewell's boots were sewn from 3 pieces of tanned calfskin, tied at the top with a leather strap. The seam goes through the middle of the instep, which is decorated with ornamental embroidery. On the outer side of each shoe, you can find a decorative brass buckle with the motif of the Camelotian bear. It is notable that even after 600 years, they are still excellently preserved, which is unusual considering the high humidity in this area. It means that even the keepers of that time must have realized the historical value of Sewell's boots, and therefore made sure to adequately preserve them. It is indeed an interesting exhibit. The horn was used by Sewell during wartime, not only for signaling, but also for intimidation. It is 50 centimeters long and made of the horn of an ox. It is the color of yellowed bone, with some ash-gray discoloration on the narrow end. It has a brass mouthpiece and silver fittings on its wider side and at the middle. The shape of the fittings suggests that the horn was hanging on a leather strap, which unfortunately has not survived to this day. It's a memento of the visit of the legendary ruler of Avalon. Impressive, isn't it? The tableware is made of tin coated with silver. It consists of a plate, a bowl, and a chalice. The edges are decorated with the motifs of Camelot, a crown and a bear. However, those ornaments are of visibly low quality. That detail, and the fact that those are the only wares from that time that have survived to this day, leads us to conclude that this set was cast specifically for that occasion, and that it was finished by a person unfamiliar with this kind of craft, perhaps a blacksmith or an armorer. Really? Do you mean it? Thank you. That's really nice to hear. I'm not used to positive feedback. Usually people only come here when they've had too much to drink and decided that it'd be fun to come over and start mocking me, or touching the exhibits with their greasy fingers. The last person who seemed to actually be interested in the museum was Lady Elaine. We talked a bit about Captain Lex and the trip that ended tragically in the year 513. It was described in The Last Voyage of the Andraste. An interesting read, although I'd say it should be classified as fiction. Lady Elaine thought differently. Apparently she's looking for the wreck of the Andraste. Can you believe that? Definitely. Personally, I believe that people gifted with curious minds should share their observations, for there's always a chance it will result in new developments. You should find Lady Elaine in the tavern, or somewhere close to it. Good luck.
You all right, newbie? Have you been to see the refugees? I can't believe poor Cole was put in a cage. Hey, what a mess. Cole came to us with a group of refugees from some nearby villages. They were looking for shelter from, well, everything that's been happening here. Bandits, the weirdness, the Del Reader, hunger. I was happy Fergus let them in and allowed them to stay. You'll meet them in the village. They live in the buildings up high. Not long ago, though, Cole started acting very strange, erratic, sometimes even aggressive. One of our keepers, old Mahon, tried to calm him down. He might have used too much force, and Cole felt compelled to defend himself. He bit old Mahon. And since then, the old fool has been lying in the infirmary. Frankly, I think Mahon brought it on himself. They shouldn't have put that poor man in a cage. Wait, if you ever meet Patrice, please give her those flowers. I know it's not much, but I'd like her to know she's not alone. I support her and the other refugees. And I'm sure there are more of us who do.
Good to see you again. The pledge today was very interesting, wasn't it? The certainty in Quartermaster Aymer's voice. Beautiful. Makes one eager to start work. Huh? Ah, yes, of course. So, what do you need this time? The pass again? Are we planning a trip to the Stale Lamb? Hey, not this time, my friend. I've run out of ink. I'm waiting for a delivery. Steward Orla will let me know when more arrives. In the meantime, I need to ask you for a favor. So, you in? For the sake of our long friendship? Orla. I'm sure I'm not mistaken. Anyway, about that favor I asked of you. I guess you still haven't sobered up, huh? The Stale Lamb. You know, the tavern in the village below the keep. It's run by Ron. Truly a great place. I hope they're not planning to close it down. Oh, they wouldn't do that, right? Just as we agreed. I appreciate that you remember. Holding one's tongue is the key to success. Keep it up. You do know it needs to stay between us. Do you understand? Say you understand. Fantastic. So, here's the thing. On a recent night out at Ron's, it seems I may have left some sensitive documents at the bar. Documents, with Captain Fergus' seal. But not necessarily sealed by him. You know what I mean. I can't really go there right now. Could you get them back for me? I'm sure it won't be too much of a problem. Splendid! When you have the documents, meet me at the third crowing of the rooster. Or just find me. I'll be around.
What do you want?
What do you need? This is a prison, not a museum. We don't admire here. We punish. At least, that's what they tell me to say. I'm supposed to be intimidating. Grrr. So the prisoners are scared of me. Because I am. I asked for this post. Just to get some peace, quiet, and warmth. No useless small talk. No shrieking seagulls. And none of that cursed biting wind. I'm telling you, it's heaven. And I get to read my books too. So if you've got anything interesting, I'd be glad to trade. Usually it's nothing but interesting, folks. I'm telling you, in these crazy times, every one of them comes in with some wild tale. But right now, quiet as can be. Good thing I've got my books. All my adventures are in there these days.
Who are you? What do you want? I don't recognize your face. I am. They told me it's for my safety, and the safety of others. I don't like it. The keep is supposed to be my home, and yet here I am, locked in a damn jail. That cursed madman from the refugee group bit me. I think his name is Cole. The boys told me he's locked up in a cage now. Good. That's the proper place for animals like him. By the All-Mother, if I'd known he was carrying some foul disease, I wouldn't have gone near them. He's just mad. I told the others the group of refugees would bring no good here. And as you can see, I wasn't wrong. Cursed bastards. Damned if I know. Whenever I've had a fever or cold before, I could always explain it. But this, I can't find the words. Sometimes it feels like I'm fading away. Like the part of me that makes me who I am is disappearing. I don't know how to describe it. And there's a voice at times It calls to me. Each night, it draws nearer. Like a dreadful howl. Not at all human, that's for sure. At times, I hear our words within it. But more often, it's like a noise from deep within the bowels of the earth. Like something very wicked. The medic and that red priest both came to see me. Both shrugged, offering no cure. Heber says I should wait. But if you've got anything stronger to drink, I wouldn't say no. It might ease the pain, even just for a little. Thanks. That's really nice of you. Hold fast, and steer clear of those strangers.
Bloody seagulls! Can you hear me, you flying vermin? Just try landing here and I'll pluck your asses clean. A keep by the sea. What a great idea that was. And what do you want? I'm fixated. Me! Oh, you didn't see what they did to me a week ago. I was just standing watch as usual, and then, suddenly, splat. A dozen of them flying overhead, screeching, shitting and whatnot. So I yelled what I think about them, shaking my fist. And then another 4, splat! And they kept screeching. I tell you, they're laughing at me. I spent all night cleaning my armor. Sewell didn't think it through when he decided where to put the keep, mark my words. and I don't like how you seem to think I'm a fool. So, what now? Should I shit on you for that? I don't think so. I once managed to shoot a few. I thought they'd learned their lesson and wouldn't be flying over here anymore. And guess what they did? They kept shitting. With increased force. Like they're planning it. Vengeful scoundrels. I need to try a different strategy. Find something that will make them feel real terror. Like the way crows are afraid of scarecrows in fields. I'm sure seagulls also have something that scares them. We just need to find out what it is. Come on, have mercy. I'd have dealt with the damn creatures myself, but I don't have the time. They're not even good for anything. Less meat than a squirrel, and what's there is dry as a pilgrim's foot. I'm not asking a lot. I just need something to scare them off. A fee? I'm not asking you to hunt down a monstrosity from Grubwood or the Sunken Village. Ah, whatever. As you wish. You'll get your fee. Oh, you must think yourself an expert, damn you. I just need you to bring me some kind of a bird scarer. They'll learn their lesson and keep away from me. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's anyone crazy enough to take up something like this. But there is one guy in the museum, Riderick. He's supposed to know everything.
Were you at the pledge? I didn't see you. Yeah. Victory over health. Honor over life. Yeah. Bandits, tribes, Sodom all. Sleep, damn it, is the worst son of a bitch I ever fought. No sleeping, no. The service is eternal. Where would we be if Seawall took naps all the time? You need to serve, not... I shut my eyes for about 15 minutes every day, sometimes 20. Besides, a true keeper doesn't sleep. He keeps watch. The Old Mother will reward me after I'm dead. But I'm not gonna lie. That potion from Eber, our physician, works miracles. You could stand on the walls all day and night and not even think about closing your eyes. What? Listen, pal, I never asked. I just came in the evenings when I was getting sleepy and took it. And then Yan put it somewhere else. Keeper's Vigor. Good stuff. Excuse me? Those were local supplies for every keeper. Shit. Maybe I was stealing. Oh, I never thought about it like that. Service. Eternal service.
Watch the feet. Your feet and my priceless seedlings. I swear your nosiness will be the death of you. I'm Owen, and this is what I do here. Always. It's safe. I can keep an eye on it, and I can chase off the seagulls. And when the weirdness comes, and the dead start rising up from their graves, then a rooftop garden will be much safer than one on the ground. I let Rark in. He doesn't talk so much. He's my best friend. My hoe in your skull would be worth 1,000 words. No, I can handle a few seagulls. I'm not like that idiot Gwilyn. I have everything I need. And you, the fly in the ointment. You need to talk to plants to help them grow. I'm not going to waste my breath on people.
The less attention, the better.
peaceful moment.
Hey. Hello. Are you also wondering why the heck we need them? Lighthouses. Why the hell are Dara and his workers pushing so hard to build the second one? Is one not enough? Is it because one is less than two and less is worse? I mean, two lighthouses next to each other are almost the same as one, and ships don't even sail this way anymore. Ah, symbolism. Yeah, maybe, whatever that is. Aye, why would they? The waters are treacherous, so no ships. Storms and the weirdness are a deadly combination. Besides, who'd have the time to build or repair them? There are enough problems on the island. We don't need more. Well, not much going on here, as you can see. Things have been a bit different lately, due to the refugees. One was even hanged for theft. But I can't say much more as I wasn't there. If you're interested in the horns, you should visit our museum. You'll learn more about that fella, Swal, or whatever his name is. What do I think? Well, as long as they follow the rules, they can stay. And if they don't, then they can hang. That's all. Folks are saying that there's some other group, probably more dangerous, not so far from here. If they come closer, well, that wouldn't be too good. Aye, it's boring, but at least you don't have to pay to enter. But almost nobody goes there anyway. You can stay here and serve. Sit in the tavern, drink and eat something. If you're looking for an adventure, you'll have to go elsewhere. There's always something happening out in the world. But you know what? Here in the south, everything happens late. It's a big world out there, and a small one right here. I wonder if, once they finish this one, they'll start building a third.
Oh, Mother have mercy. Not another one. If I let you pass, will you promise not to make any trouble? That's just my luck. Take the post, Tiernan, they told me. You'll be looking after a village full of old farts. That's practically early retirement, they said. What a load of crap. There's always something. If it's not the deck falling apart, it's a refugee running around biting people. Well, to be fair, he only bit one person. But it was a keeper. I know Mahone can be a piece of shit sometimes, but gods. Now both of them are sick. And Heber's got no clue what's wrong. Which is the only reason that refugee isn't dead. Yet. So, he's sitting in a cage. His wife's crying all day and everyone's pissed. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in the middle of it all. No need to tell me that. But I can't just go back to patrolling the walls. I'd be a laughingstock. I'd rather sit here and hope everything works itself out. I mean, everyone's gotta die someday, right? So whether it's me or them, at least my problems will be over. No, not really, fortunately. The deck? Nah, just old wood. Honestly, it's the least of my problems. But I've got no way to fix it. Dara's always busy with his lighthouse, and every time I try to do it myself, someone else needs me for something. I can't even sneak out to the tavern because last time some rich bint started complaining that everything here smells of fish. That's a seaside village. What else would it smell of? You do that? That would be a huge relief. Well, maybe not huge. There are bigger problems, but it'd be a start. Truth be told, I don't know why they want it so badly. It's for boats. No one here even uses boats. But, well, you know how it is with old folks. Once they get fixated on something, there's no point in arguing. I'd pay if I could, but this was supposed to be my job. The budget's long gone. But if you're interested, I could teach you a thing or two about home decor. Not exactly standard keeper knowledge, but, well, we all have our secrets. Surprised? Can't blame you. This might sound odd coming from someone stationed in a glorified fish bucket, but I've got a thing for furniture. The only thing more mismatched than the barracks around here is my career choice. But, yeah, I like imagining places where things fit. Where chairs don't wobble, tables don't look like someone hacked them together with a dull axe, and beds, well, beds don't feel like they're plotting your murder while you sleep. Not exactly a secret I broadcast. Most folks see me as Tiernan the Grumbler. But hey, we've all got something that keeps us sane, right? Mine just happens to be daydreaming about nicer chairs. Oh, she's a real piece of work, that one. Her name's Lady Elisa. Something. I don't remember. She came here with her husband. Poor man. I never heard him get a word in. You know, sometimes I regret not getting married. But if I had a wife like her, I'd just end up being a keeper all over again. See you around.